Read-only variables. So read-only variables are similar to constant variables, but we can modify the value of read-only variables at runtime as well with the help of constructor. But after that, that value cannot be changed further. So what is read-only variables? Declared with the read-only keyword, these variables can be assigned at declaration or in the constructor, but cannot be modified thereafter. So what is the scope of the read-only variables? Their scope can be instance level or static level. If we are using static keyword at the time of declaration, then the scope of the read-only variables would be at static level only. Otherwise, it would be at instance level. Lifetime, similar to instance or static variables, depending on whether read-only is used with static or not. So what are the characteristics of the read-only variables? Unlike constants, read-only variables are set at runtime rather than at compile time. So constant variables must be initialized at compile time only, but read-only variables can be assigned at runtime as well. Use cases useful for values that depend on the runtime conditions or need to be initialized during object creation, but should not change after that. So let's have one more example. So here we have declared one class, that is config class. Suppose in our application there are multiple configuration files. So according to situation at runtime, we need to pass that particular file path to this constructor. So developer, whenever want to use that particular path, he need to create the object of this config class and need to pass that particular path to this constructor. So that path can be assigned to config file path. So henceforth, this value cannot be changed after that. Declared with the read-only keyword, these variables can be assigned at the declaration or in the constructor, but cannot be modified thereafter. Their scope can be instance level or static level. Similar to instance or static variables, depending on whether read-only is used with static or not. Unlike constants, read-only variables are set at runtime rather than at compile time. So let's make this head variable as a read-only variable. So read-only variable is now an instance variable over here. So if you want to use that variable, you need to use a object of that particular class. Said. But we cannot change that value once it is declared at the time of compilation. So read-only variables can be changed at runtime in its constructor only. So we can modify the value at constructor level. But if I am trying to change that value in another function, then it will throw exception. A read-only field cannot be assigned to except in constructor or init-only setter of the type in which field is defined or variable initializer. Means read-only variables should be assigned at compile time or in constructor at runtime. Yes, here default value is Z because we are not assigning any value to it. But at the time of creation of the object, so here we are creating the object of class. So at that time we can modify that particular value. So let's make this constructor as a parameterized constructor and assign that value to Z. So at the time of object creation, we need to pass the value which would be assigned to read-only variable. So in function, we cannot change the value of read-only variable, but in constructor, we can. So let's debug the application now. So here first object is created and here the second object we are creating. So now we are in constructor and the value which we are passing is 56 and assigned to Z variable. After that, we are calling display function. So now the value of Z is 56 because at the time of object creation, we are passing 56 value to its constructor. So that's why it is 56. Again, we are creating the another object of same class and passing the value 85. So at runtime, initial value of Z is 0 and we are passing 85 to it. And now the value of Z is 85 as well. So let's call the display function by using second object. So now the value of Z is 85. So we can modify the read-only variable value at runtime with the help of constructor only.